The Chosen Ones Mark, How Bloodlines Select Their Targets, Occult Families. Welcome back. I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and this is the Occult Families, How to Spot Them series. Trigger warning, this video series covers disturbing and very serious topics. Full legal disclaimer in the video description below. In these families, children are not simply born. They are cast, like characters in a play. They are chosen based on bloodline energetics, birth timing, spiritual capacity, and often what the family needs to offload. There are no favorites, only functions. And while the outer world sees personality, success, or dysfunction, what's really being played out behind the scenes is ritual architecture. Every child is selected for a spiritual role. Every role serves the system. Let's start by breaking down the 4 core roles: the sacrifice, the vessel, the seer, and the cleanser. These aren't metaphors. They are active designations, reinforced by ritual, psychic abuse, surveillance, and trauma timing. Sacrifice. The sacrifice is not just the scapegoat. This is the family's battery. The sacrifice is the child selected to absorb the karmic waste of the bloodline: emotional shame, sexual betrayal, financial ruin, spiritual debt, and even psychic illness. These children are groomed to carry the family's sins, and when the ritual system is active, they are punished not for what they do, but for what they relieve the others from. The signs are disturbing, but clear. Sacrificed children are often chronically ill or emotionally volatile. They are scapegoated, but also spiritually hypersensitive. They walk into a room and feel the unspoken tension. They cry without cause. They carry guilt that doesn't belong to them. They often say things like, "I just want to fix it," or "I feel like I'm the reason everything went wrong." But the truth is, the family poured its darkness into them, and then blamed them for breaking under the weight. This isn't emotional dysfunction. This is ritual programming. These children may have physical symptoms like mystery bruises, digestive failure, sudden joint collapse, or illness that intensifies around family birthdays, holidays, or full moons. If your illness always coincides with someone else's success, watch closely. In many cases, that person is being spiritually lifted at your expense. In my own life, I started to notice that whenever I hit a personal breakthrough, a book finished, a business milestone, a travel plan, sudden sabotage would erupt from within the family. Police reports, health attacks, emotional implosions, not random, scheduled. The vessel. The vessel is the most subtle role, and often the most praised. This is the child who is mature beyond their years, unnaturally compliant, calm, emotionally responsible for everyone else. But what's really happening here is spiritual overriding. The vessel is the energetic container the family uses for hosting deceased relatives, ancestral egregores, or even spiritual attachments that need a place to land. These children often don't know who they are. They experience dissociation, memory gaps, and extreme fatigue, especially after family contact or during specific calendar cycles. They may have been told they were wise, easy to handle, or an old soul. What they weren't told is that their identity was being overwritten. Symptoms often show up as loss of time, sudden personality shifts, and the inability to make decisions. These individuals report being different around certain family members or feeling like their real self only shows up when they're alone. Many vessels later remember strange dreams involving chanting, ancestral figures, or being called to altars they've never physically seen. The cleanser. The cleanser is the child who physically and spiritually processes the family's toxicity. These children are energetic filtration systems. When a relative is struggling, the cleanser becomes sick. When a relative thrives, the cleanser collapses. They don't just feel emotions, they alchemize them. But that comes with a cost. These individuals often develop autoimmune disorders, spiritual burnout, or psychic collapse around ritual windows, such as solstices, equinoxes, or ancestral death anniversaries. If you've ever found yourself unable to move for days after a phone call from your mother, or chronically ill after spending time at a family home, this is not psychosomatic. It is ritual energetics. You are being bled. Some cleansers report symptoms that follow a pattern: nosebleeds, headaches, menstrual irregularities, skin eruptions, or blacking out during peak family crises. These are physical markers of processing spiritual poison on behalf of the system. The seer. The seer is the open channel. These children are used for access to the astral, to the ancestral, to prophecy. They are often the most spiritually gifted and the most emotionally unstable because their gifts were never meant to be honored. They were meant to be harvested. Seers often begin dreaming of rituals they've never witnessed, sensing spirits, or receiving messages before they can write their name. They're often told they're lying. They're accused of being too sensitive, too emotional, or dramatic. But in reality, they are responding to energetic invasion, often nightly. Many seers report astral rape, prophetic dreams, or the feeling of being used during sleep. They wake up sore, confused, or with emotional residue from people they haven't spoken to in years. They may see their abuser in their dreams, smiling, speaking in symbols, watching them from a corner. These dreams are not symbolic. They are ritual contact events. How are these assignments made? Now let's get specific. These roles aren't guessed, they're ritually determined. 1. Astrological targeting. Families tied to occult systems use birth charts to determine spiritual roles. Common red flags: Saturn in the 8th house, karmic bondage, forced burden, often the sacrifice or cleanser. Pluto in the 12th or 4th house, spiritual overriding, the vessel. Moon in the 8th or 12th, emotional servitude, psychic harvesting, the seer born on an eclipse, solstice, or full moon. Veil-pierced child, spiritual assignment began at conception. Some families use astrologers to plan pregnancies, schedule births, or even perform conception rituals tied to planetary alignments. If your birth was chaotic, medically strange, or surrounded by trauma, it may have been engineered. 2. Physical markings. Assigned children often carry ritual marks. Birthmarks in geometric shapes, circles, spirals, triangles, moons, scars or bruises that appear overnight, often symmetrical or recurring. Marks that itch, tingle, or change color near spiritual holidays or blood moons. These are energetic tattoos, portals, seals, or symbols that make the child easier to locate spiritually. 3. Stolen body materials. One of the most disturbing but telling patterns is the theft of physical matter. In my own life, I caught my father stealing my hairbrush twice and my toothbrush once. These weren't small coincidences. These were ritual access attempts. In sympathetic magic, items like hair, menstrual blood, nail clippings, baby teeth, or saliva are used to bind, curse, or tether someone spiritually. Many survivors recall missing personal items as children: locks of hair, lost baby teeth, forgotten menstrual products. These were not misplaced. They were taken. 4. Cursed gifts and ritual objects. Assigned children are often gifted clothing, mirrors, statues, or shoes that function as ritual devices. Shoes are especially dangerous. They are commonly used in roadblock spells, curses designed to keep the wearer stuck, unable to move forward in life. In my case, my father gave me a 2-foot concrete cat statue, and later I noticed he had painted the eyes black. After that, the dreams turned dark. The house felt cold. I couldn't sleep. That wasn't a gift, that was a watcher. Other survivors report jewelry from dead relatives that makes them ill, mirrors that watch them, or create spiritual disassociation. Clothing passed down from known abusers, statues with hidden compartments or red wax underneath random objects, black candles, bones, written papers, hidden in drawers or rooms, mirror surveillance, and the watcher effect. Another sign you were chosen. Your home watched you. Not just people, but objects. Mirrors, in particular, are often used as portals. If you ever felt like your reflection changed, or you caught your eyes looking not like yours, this is spiritual bleed-through. This may include seeing movement in the mirror, not matched in the room, eye color changing with emotional shifts, photos where your expression doesn't match your memory, feeling like someone is watching you through the mirror at night. These are not hallucinations. These are signs of astral monitoring. So what does it all mean? If you relate to this video, you were likely never a victim of coincidence. You were born into a ritual framework. The good news? You were chosen not because you were weak, but because you were powerful. Chosen ones are targeted because their fields are spiritually rare. They carry light, access, and breaking codes the system fears. But acknowledgement is the beginning of freedom. Let's recap. You were likely assigned one or more roles: sacrifice, vessel, seer, cleanser. Your birth chart, bloodline, or soul contracts were used to plan your assignment. You may have been targeted with physical symptoms, dream attacks, or haunted gifts. Personal items like hair or blood may have been stolen for ritual use. You were likely gifted or surrounded by ritual tools, masked as sentimental objects. Your symptoms are not delusions. They are evidence of system design. And most importantly, you can now see the design, which means it can no longer hide inside you. Hi, I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and what you just watched is part of my signature program, the Chosen One series inside School of Soul. This series is not just a course, it's a blueprint for those who know they were different from the start: the black sheep, the scapegoat, the truth teller, the cycle breaker. Inside, you'll discover the family roles playbook, the golden child, the scapegoat, the enabler, the lost child, and how to finally step out of the part you were cast in without consent. How the black sheep becomes the goat, turning rejection into radical transformation and leadership. How to break generational curses and rewrite ancestral contracts so the pain stops with you. And how to recognize and escape modern forms of spiritual and technological targeting, from gang stalking to synthetic synchronicity. This isn't just about survival. It's about awakening, about reclaiming your voice, your lineage, and your destiny as one of the chosen ones. Click the link below to access the full series now, because the role ends the moment you decide it does, and the real script begins with you.